Shanks was a rat all along. Oda has just revealed that after Roger's execution, Saint Figarland Shanks gave up on his life as a pirate to join his family atop of Mariejois as a holy knight, becoming a dog of Emu, even bearing the devil's mark on his arm, something Harald had to work years to obtain. His father Garling is so proud of Shanks' power that he is showing him off to Harald, bro. This guy sold out the entire pirate era. The rat no me is in full effect. We were right. However, after putting on my quarter zip, I realized that the reason for Shanks betraying Roger and the pirate's will is much deeper than you may think. In fact, this decision by Shanks is the main reason he is the child of destiny in One Piece. Without Shanks using his rat powers, Luffy could have never reached the level to defeat Emu. But before we reach this point, we have to look at the aftermath of God Valley. Last chapter, Harald ran to Marineford begging to become their slave for the sake of Elbaf's induction into the world government. The government, of course, said, alright, bet bro, we'll take you in, we'll use you up. And so, for the past 5 years, King Harald has become a menace to pirates on the sea. Before pirates can even harm an island, a shadowy devil-like figure emerges from the mist behind them, capturing the criminals instantly. They don't even have time to realize what done them in. They just end up in Impel Down discussing how scary it all was. Now, with the talk of mist and fog, the reporter thinks that maybe these pirates and fishermen saw the monster in the Florian Triangle. However, he's like, fat chance, bro. They don't even fish near there. It is way too scary. The only thing the people who have seen Harald through the mist can recall is that it was a human-like figure. Over 30 years ago, this rumor spread like wildfire among the Grand Line countries. They said that a monster lurked deep in the foggy seas targeting pirate crews. Few people in the One Piece world have ever seen giants with their own eyes, as Elbaf is a closed nation and a non-member country. Other than a few scattered tribes like Idas or some pirate crews like Dory and Broggy, giants don't really mingle with humans much. So to them, Harald ganking was no less than a mythical sea creature crushing them. Since God Valley, Harald has been working as a backup for the Navy to atone for the last 1,000 years of giants being bad to humans. Harald most likely had been the first ever warlord of the sea for the government, or a precursor to that role's creation, as their roles are very similar to the giant kings in the past. Furthermore, a reason for Harald using the mist might be to not hurt the reputation of the giants further. Everyone already believes them to be violent and scary. If a giant starts going around destroying ships with one attack, the fear only grows. Right now, due to the mist, it's only concentrated to the captured pirates. Sadly, this also works against Harald's favor, as at the start of the chapter, pirates are about to attack an island, but before they can even get to shore, Harald destroys them. The citizens would be grateful to Harald for helping them, yet they don't know that a giant was responsible for their safety. Harald has given up on all of his dignity at this point, symbolized by his missing horns. He doubled down on his philosophy of trying to appease the world government to change their minds about Elbaf. He is okay with becoming a slave or a dog, if that means that his people can gain acceptance by the world government. Now, to us and his best friend Rox, whose family has been persecuted for 800 years, it's clear that Emu and the Gorosei will never treat Elbaf or any other nation as equals. But to Harald's eyes, the world government symbolizes the will of the member nations. They have a say in world affairs and trade. He wants a piece of that, because instead of their warrior-like perception, the giants are actually very curious people, and if given the chance, would choose to pursue knowledge over fighting for survival. That's the freedom Harald thinks Elbaf will gain by joining Mariejois, which highlights the gullibility of the giant race. Because remember, Dory and Broggy, at that time they had like 100 million berry bounty, now they have 1.5 billion bounties. They were Mr. 3 victims in Little Garden. Remember that, guys? Meanwhile, the other top dogs of the God Valley incident, like Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard, they have all continued their rise in the past few years, each of them becoming the face of their era. However, most of them didn't oppose the government or any of that. Instead, just fought amongst themselves in the new world over territory. The only crew that burst past that distraction were the Roger Pirates, as they finally circumnavigated the entire world, reaching Laugh Tale and finding the One Piece, gaining the title of Pirate King. As we move past Roger's execution, the government is cooked. But before I explain how the government is completely cooked, I need to tell you guys about some of these U2's figures, okay? Let me grab my U2's real quick. What is my U2? Right there. This is one of my U2's I got like a while ago. It's the Chainsaw Man one. And then they have the Chainsaw Man drop available on their site right now. You gotta act quick though, because they only do limited drops. So once they're gone forever. They also have Reese. They have Anya figurines. They have a lot of different anime figurines. Go check it out. There's some of them on screen right now. Back to the video. Please go get some U2s. That helps us out a lot. You want? Let me put the U2s next to the GOAT, bruh. Moving on, the government is completely cooked because the great pirate era has just started. Everyone wants to become a pirate and find the pirate
The One Piece is real.
So Navy HQ was caught off guard. As a result, they recruited more than 10 giants to join the Marines. We would see this unit in action during Marineford War, where they guarded Ace's execution platform. Two of the members, LaCroix and Lons, would even rise to become vice admirals. During the same year, after the Pirate King's death, Harald was finally given permission, after 15 years of being the Marines' dog and slave, to step foot in Mariejois officially. The Father Celestials are screaming to have this man as a slave. Please, please, Ebu. Please, Ebu. My mom is kind of homeless. I need that giant, please. The main reason for this call-up was for Harald's promotion. He wouldn't just be shadowing the Marines anymore, but become an assistant to the Holy Knights by being given a shallow sea contract by Imu. This is the same mark we saw Shanks have 14 years ago when he was in Gabon's onsen. The title for Harald now is God's Steel. This dude says that this is a great honor. Oh! This is a great honor. This is a great honor. You cannot be serious, bro. Like, you are literally selling your soul, and that's a great honor to you. Oh my god. Turns out that there are 3 levels to Imu's contract. The Shallow Sea is a minor pact between Harald and Imu. Then you have the Deep Sea and the Deep Sea contracts, which makes you be fully bound to the true god. Only 13 people at that point receive that privilege. Now we can figure out what kinds of powers these different marks may grant you through different God's Knights already. The Deep Sea contract is likely what the Holy Knights get. The main perk of this is going to be immortality in combat. It's the mark that Saint Diddy used to regen against the Straw Hats. The mark Harald has likely only grants Imu the authority to Domi Reverse you without the damage rich first. Most Holy Knight trainees likely start off with the Shallow Sea contract. Once you get promoted, you gain the higher tiers. While the Gorosei have received the highest honor of the Deep Sea contract, which not only grants you instant regeneration, but complete control over summoning and even immortality. Because we see Garling, the captain of the Holy Knights, still age until the present day. Same thing for Saint Diddy. Only the Gorosei are granted eternal life or the Deep Sea contract. Gunko seems to also have this contract, as she hasn't aged a day since we saw her 56 years ago when Zebek visited Imu in the Flower Room. And with only Saturn, then Gunko having been used as Imu's vessel to descend from the Holy Land, she definitely has the highest tier of the mark. Which made me wonder on our weekly One Piece chapter stream at 9 a.m. Central US time on Fridays, Imu chose Gunko. Now, if we look at her official colors, she has blue hair like Vivi or Buggy. We learned that Nefertari D. Lily, who had a great impact on Imu 800 years ago, likely being in love with her. Remember, she vanished on her way back to Mariejois. What if she stayed in Gunko's home island and married, having kids, and a new Nefertari line was created, not called Nefertari? Imu learned of this and kidnapped Gunko, bestowing her the highest honor possible. Okay, this is pretty crackpot right now. Like, hear me, this might be like the Straw Hats are going to the moon theory, so it's not as solid as Dragon is coming to Elbaf, you know. Nothing can be as solid as that.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Moving on, Harald asks, what do they mean by God? To which Saint Venusjiro says that he will only know the greatest depths of this world on the day Harald becomes a full-fledged holy knight, at which point Elbaf will also gain entry into the world government. This really shows Harald's gullibility. He actually believes the BS coming out of the Gorosei's mouth. This dude Saturn isn't even looking at Harald while he says that, but you are getting played right now. Moving to the Temple of the Gods Knights, Garling Figarland wonders what Emu is planning by letting Harald into their organization. Saint Diddy doesn't trust that Harald will just obey them. They have no choice but to trust in Harald. So, because, you know, Emu ordered that, like, yo, you better help out Harald. He's part of my bigger picture, my bigger plan. Garling gives him a long-distance transponder snail on hand, tells him that they'll call him if they need him. Harald is free to travel the surface world, but he isn't allowed to say anything Holy Knights related. Moving on to 20 years ago, Harald visits his friend King Neptune in Fishmen Island. Neptune is probably one of the only people in the whole world that truly understands Harald and his action. His people are also persecuted by the government, villainized relentlessly just for being different to humans, and even captured as slaves over and over again. With the giants and fish folks similarities, King Neptune brings up Prince Loki, saying he can't be that bad, right? Right guys, Harald himself was pretty rowdy when young, so like Harald should give him the benefit of the doubt. And since a fortune teller, Madame Charlie, foresaw the birth of Shirahoshi, the mermaid princess, in 4 years, why not arrange a marriage between the two? Which shocks the Giant King, as he just laughs it off. Pre-ordering your daughter-in-law 4 years before birth is crazy. Yet Neptune is deadly serious, as his daughter might be born with a power no one else could ever hope to handle. Only big man Loki can handle Poseidon. And with my theory about Loki being the driver of Pluton through his snake eyes, it's a match made over 800 years ago in heaven, the ancient kingdom. In fact, the very next sentence by Harald seals the deal, as he calls Neptune's future daughter Mosha. Since Neptune is hairy, so his daughter must be born hairy too, right? And we all know Loki's best friend right now is named Mosha. With Neptune and Harald being this close, they must have shared Dendenmushis with each other. Shirahoshi wasn't allowed to be out much due to Vanderdecken gunning for her, so she grabbed one of her father's transponder snails and contacted Loki, who has also been imprisoned by Shanks for the last 6 years. They found a lot in common with each other, similar to their father. With this new information, if we read back Loki and Mosha's conversation, she was definitely talking about the Reverie incident where Charlos tried to enslave her, to which Loki said that he would have destroyed everything. Shirahoshi even says, "Don't yell like that, please." That same year, Harald meets up with Saul at the Owl Library. He wants to build a school to educate the future generations of Elbaf. We then move to 15 years ago. Fisher Tiger has just escaped from Mariejois. On the run, he comes across a Holy Knight. However, instead of striking the escaped fishman, the Holy Knight breaks his shackles. These are definitely sea stones, so by the age of 24, Shanks already had mastery over advanced armament Rio. This guy tells Fisher Tiger that the armory is left open for him to raise havoc in the Holy Land. This guy literally looks like Shanks, by the way. Like, look at the figure, look at the sword, everything. In the chaos, the Boa sisters also make their escape, including Koala. Without Shanks' help, Fisher Tiger could not have achieved his escape. Harald is back at Mariejois, as he hears about the incident that some rat must have opened the armory for the escapees to wreak havoc. Saint Diddy also says that it's up to the Gods Knight now to find the culprit and execute them. Before that, though, Garling wants to introduce a new steel of God to Harald, Saint Figarland Shanks, the brother of Shamrock. Garling feels so bad for his son, who had to suffer so many hardships in the surface world with all those muggles. Oh my god, how could he have lived like that? Man, Oh my gosh, Shanks looked so sad with the Roger Pirates, right guys? We saw him like that. All that smile, that was a fake smile, bro. Those Roger Pirates definitely kidnapped him, didn't let him out of the ship. They probably put him in prison, bro. You know how Koala looks like? That's probably how Shanks was looking. Except whenever the camera was on them, when Oda was drawing it, then like they gave Shanks makeup, they gave him the hat, everything. You know, I gave him a smile. It's all propaganda, bro. But now, Garling's boy is back home. He's on par with Shamrock in strength. Once he forms a deep sea pack, he will become a great asset to the world government. Right now, though, he is just a god steel. Harald says that Shanks looks familiar to him. He can't shake the feeling that he has met him before, which is likely the time when the Roger Pirates went to Elbaf. However, Shanks replies by saying that he doesn't know what this stupid giant commoner dumbass is yapping about. Don't act so familiar with a Figarland blood like him. He is wearing a quarter zip just like me. Do not speak lightly to a quarter zipper, twin. He will become a god knight before Harald. It seems like Harald picked up on Shanks' game here as he backs off instantly. Shanks is a rat, but not for the government, instead against them. After Roger found the One Piece and revealed the truth about the world to him, Shanks chose to do something about the current situation. He knew it wasn't yet time for Joyboy's prophecy to come true. So, during his captain's execution, he made the decision to give up the life of a true pirate and instead become the balancer of the world until Joyboy returned. That's why he infiltrated Mariejois to gather even more information about Imu and his dark secrets. Venus earlier in the chapter said that only when Harald gains the deep sea mark that he will understand the depths of the world government and Imu. Shanks likely reached this position, gained all the info, and dipped. It's possible that he even made a deal with the Gorosei to act as their rat in the pirate world, being a sort of a double agent. His true goal, however, was always to bring Joyboy's prophecy to light. That's why Gaban, a year after this moment, calls Shanks the child of destiny, the one who has the reins of the world's path. It's possible that Shanks even stopped Kaido from reaching Marineford by following the Gorosei's order. Remember, Oda often says that in the manga, if he were to be a character, he would be Shanks, and Oda, as the writer, is the one manipulating the events of the world. So Shanks has been manipulating the events of the world for the prophecy of Dawn to come true. During his time in Mariejois is also how Shanks learned of the Nika fruit and the legendary fruit in Elbaf, learning of the ways to defeat Imu. That's why after leaving a year later, he comes to Elbaf again to speak with Harald. Then, 13 years ago, he is in search of the Gum Gum fruit, which to CP0 agents like Who's Who, it was just a rubber fruit. Why would a dude worth 1 billion berry try to take it in the East Blue? Shanks planned to give the fruit to Roger's son Ace, as he thought that's who the promised one should be, since, you know, Roger himself joked about it. However, Luffy ate the fruit, foiling Shanks' plans, until he realized Luffy is him. Shanks losing his arm might have been on purpose against the Sea King. After betting it all on the future, as he told Rayleigh soon after, this action might have also been his proclamation to stop working with the Gorosei. Either way, Shanks is still keeping up the act with his brother Shamrock. He asks him to show him around Mariejois, suggesting that he just recently joined the Holy Knights and he doesn't know a lot. While they look around, Shanks also wants to capture the traitor who let Fisher Tiger escape. But the traitor is of course Shanks himself. Shamrock, on the other hand, likes having his brother. He cares for Shanks, saying that he should wait until his wounds are healed. Yet Shanks is like, bro, you do not know how it felt being with those filthy muggles down there in the underworld for 24 goddamn years of your life, twin. Let me lock in and capture some slaves for Imu-sama. If you look at Shanks and Shamrock's clothing, there is a glaring difference. Shanks is usually seen with his chest fully bare, right? But as a Celestial, he is hiding his true nature. It's like, you know, your heart is on the chest. He's hiding his true heart. His identity right now is a lie, so his chest is closed off. Shamrock, on the other hand, has his chest open, symbolizing him opening up to his newfound brother. He even has a little smirk smile. Like, it looks like a smile to me, bro. In the future, Shamrock instead has his chest and emotions closed, likely after the betrayal by his own twin brother. Furthermore, Shanks' injury is of course caused by Blackbeard. It's possible that before joining the Gods Knights, they wanted to test Shanks' resolve. As he approached Teach in his role as a Celestial, it triggered the fuck out of Blackbeard, causing a fight to break out. This proved Shanks' determination as he gained entry into the world government. In Elbaf, things are not looking good though. Ida is deathly ill. Loki sees Ida as his true mother. When Esther threw him away, she picked him up and raised him like her own child. Loki is so tsundere here. Bro brings up meat for Ida, but he's like, I only brought this for her because I like hanging out at her bar, bro. Reopen the bar, damn it. Not like I love her or anything, but that's what Loki's saying here. Sadly, there was no cure for Ida. She passes away with her final words saying that she may not be related to Loki by blood, but he's still her cute little son. She saw both Hiruden and Loki as her children. When Loki visits his mother's village, he's told by the elders that they were the one to poison Ida because it would be unbearable to see that foreign bitch worm her way to becoming a royal. Since Loki is Estrid's son, he should be with Alcohol Village. They will support him in becoming king. Upon hearing this, Loki has a justifiable crash out. He kills the old man instantly as he destroys their houses, screaming that Ida was the only mother he had ever known. This is pretty ironic how while Harald is trying to get acceptance for giants from the world, his own wife Ida isn't accepted by many in Elbaf. Like she isn't even his legitimate wife. How can you hope to change the minds of the world when your own citizens have labeled your wife, your love, an outcast? Anyway, Harold's kind of dumb. Thank you for watching this video. Go check out YouTube's, guys. It will help us out a lot. 5% off, code Anime Balls Deep. You know how it is. Check the link in the description. Thank you. I'll see you guys next week.